Cenk Sidar is the founder and managing director of Sidar Global Advisors. It's a Washington, D.C. global macro research and strategy advisory firm that has been assisting top financial institutions and multinational corporations investing in emerging markets since 2009. Cenk successfully developed the firm's client base, building a broad range of experience assisting Fortune 100 companies, hedge funds, and private equities in their overseas operations and investments. He's a member of Turkey's Republican People's Party and advises the party leadership on foreign policy and economic issues. And like Blair, we've got two real mavericks here. He was selected top 99 under 33 foreign policy leaders. And it's the list by Diplomatic Courier, as I mentioned before, for young professionals in foreign policy. This list brings together 99 of the most influential policy leaders under the age of 33. That's a pretty extraordinary distinction.
First of all, I'm a Bologna graduate 2006 and DC graduate 2007. And my process of selecting school may be a little bit different than yours because I was a foreign student studying in Turkey. I was in my final year of my undergraduate studies, and I had a scholarship from the European Commission to study 1 year in Europe. So I was applying all the European schools in Europe, British schools, German, French schools. And I realized, you know, there's a school my friends told me there's a good school in Bologna and there's a great network and it has a campus in DC and there's a 2-year program. So it was great. And someone studying in Turkey, I was studying business and I was involved in student politics in Turkey. So I was in between, you know, should I stay in the business world, go to MBA or do study international relations, something related with politics. And I decided to try to keep them merging or like working together. And then I realized the Bologna campus was a great school because, you know, the economic background and the holistic structure of the curriculum would let me develop my skills in these 2 areas. So, and I decided I had applied maybe 12, 14 schools in Europe, and I decided to go to Bologna campus for my first year. There was one problem that I had a scholarship for 1 year from European Commission, so I didn't know about the second year. But then I realized I made my best decision going to Bologna and comparing myself with other students or other scholars went to other schools in Europe. And I was able to, in Bologna and DC, in both campuses, I was able to develop my analytical skills as well as network and other practical skills. And the second year, again, I resolved the scholarship problem through politics, running for student government, and I won the elections, and they needed to give me a scholarship for my second year after winning the elections, and I was able to merge them with each other. But the second year taught me something very important, and I think that's the most important thing going to SAIS or preferring SAIS over other schools. The horizons that it would open up or the new perspectives you're going to gain going to school. As I mentioned, you know, these 2 fields I was very indecisive on which one to pursue, like to say in politics, improve myself in that area, or gaining some business skills. And I was able to realize basically there was an industry and sector that I could use these both skills, like political risk and macroeconomic research sector. You know, when I was an undergrad student in Turkey, I never thought I could use these 2 areas together and provide a service to companies and investors. So I just learned it through my second year, meeting people, talking to people who work in this field, basically helped me, having this new horizon and perspective helped me to build my company because I didn't know anything about that. So then, you know, I worked a few years at somewhere, but then I used the skills and the network and the tool set I developed here, and I started my company. But the most important thing, in addition to building or having new perspective, I think the adaptability skill you're going to gain as SAIS. 10 years later, all the courses you're going to take may not really mean anything. You know, the world is changing in a very fast pace, and all the information you are learning, you know, like except the theory classes, of course, and the fundamental economic classes, you know, the Middle East classes, the daily stuff that you're learning, or the history, may not really mean that much. But what you're gonna use 10 years later can be applied to everyone, is the adaptability. You know, moving from the Bologna to DC requires some adaptability. Going from economic class to political class requires some adaptability. And, you know, opening up to new areas that you never heard. The reason I went to SAIS was basically merging business and politics and the European and American politics with each other, because that was important for someone, you know, living and studying in Turkey. But I learned a lot here on Asian politics, African politics, Latin American politics, even if I haven't taken classes. I just learned so many things just being in a room with someone talking about it. So I think that's the most important skill really I built going to SAIS. I'm very proud of being a graduate of SAIS, and I'm still affiliated with the school. I serve at the advisory council and helping the school to build this global presence in other areas. And I would definitely recommend going to SAIS, and what you're gonna gain, the most important thing gonna be adaptability, and you're gonna use it 10, 15, 20, 30 years in addition to the network that you're gonna gain here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Armen, and I'm from Armenia, and yes, I'm not lying. My question is in regards of your experience at SAIS. I mean, you talk about all these positive things, but I was wondering, if you look back in the retrospect, do you wish you did something differently or did something more of or less of that would enhance more of your experience, and what advice would you give us?
Actually, I don't know if there are any foreign students here or applying from other schools, but other countries, but if you're a foreign student and you pass the English proficiency, you don't need to have another language. So in Bologna, there was a great language program, and you could learn, like Spanish, French, or something that I didn't know. I speak Turkish, English, and German. But Bologna, like the social life was so great, I partied too much and I didn't just go to language classes, That's maybe that, if I would be in my shoes now, I wouldn't do that. Maybe I would learn another language in 1 year when I had a lot of free time. So, but to be honest, I'm not regretting, we really had the time.
I'm Isabella and I live in DC, but I'm from Poland. And I think a lot of the students here have also been accepted to other schools, whether it's Kennedy, whether it's SIPA, whether it's Elliott. What is the comparative advantage of SAIS over all these other programs? And if you had the choice, like what made, I know you spoke to that already, but what is, it's also a personal choice with lots of, things to consider, but if you had to narrow it down to one that people could be receptible to, what would you say?
Hiring people every year from different backgrounds for regional and functional expertise positions. And since the world is really changing at a very fast pace, we really need people understanding different areas very well. So I'm not going to name any school, but some of the schools you mentioned, we hire people that are great writing a piece on climate change, or they're great writing a piece on political institutions in X country. But when we have a need to write a piece for a multinational client describing the relationship between climate change and the Arab Spring, the only SAIS people are able to deliver this. Because like here you learn about economy, you learn about domestic politics issues, because when you talk about climate change, you need to talk about wheat prices in China and how it affects drought, and how the drought in China affects wheat prices in Middle East, and how it affects the bread prices, and how it affects people to revolt. And all these relationships only could be built by people understanding the social, economic, and political dynamics all together. The other schools give you great perspective on political issues, or some gives on the business issues, but SAIS is the only school that gives you the global tool set that you can combine them all. So that's my perspective as an employer.